Thank you for coming. Excuse for my English is not very fluent, but this project is very important for Niger, which is a Sahelian country. We decided to do this project 12 years ago. We started 12 years ago, and we have the government come to us because we, in our business we start doing selling gum arabic, which is the product come from the trees. Then the project interests the government people because we made some small plantation of acacia, and for this project we take all the countries, 8 regions. We have 26 villages, and we plant 8,000 hectares. The plantations was a success because the government gave us people from the forestry with the villages to take care of the control of the plantations, and then we start this MDP process, but it's take a long time.
I just want to add that I think we are an example of success of the clean development mechanism. I don't know if you are familiar with this mechanism, which has been developed after the Kyoto Protocol. And we made this investment in Niger, a very poor Sahelian countries, because this system took place. Without, we would never have made a project like this one, which involved thousands of people. As you said, more than 8,000 hectares. It's a huge, huge project, which has been made by a small or medium-sized private company. So it means that with a little bit of perseverance, networks, creativity, will, we can achieve really, really amazing projects. Naturally, with the help, the assistance of the World Bank, which has been more than useful. So to sum up, just before to give you back the microphone, what we would like, and that's why we are happy to be here, is that a project like that can have a pedagogic impact, can be duplicated in other countries, because when you see the results, it's really amazing, really amazing.
The result, there are 2 results. Ecological results, because of the plantation, the degraded land become life lands. The animals that disappear reappear. The animals come back. The bees come back. So we have a microclimate. We create microclimate in the plantations, and we have grass for animals, and new trees coming grow in the plantations. And in the social impact is tremendous, because young people, women's work for the project. They get money from the project, and everybody is happy.
So you all know about what is called systemic approach, what is about sustainable development project, and we are really a case, a typical, I will say, a true case of what can be a systemic approach. So naturally, the fact that the carbon is sequestrated is naturally superb, but it's not only the good impact in terms of education, in terms of giving money of all these people who took care of this plantation. So I repeat, 8,000 hectares, it's huge, it's huge. So it gives a little bit of hope, you know, even for this planet, when you realize that small people like us can achieve such a things.
And what is the original in the project is that now we, in end of 2017, we have 250,000 equivalent of CO2. And we start produce the gum arabic. And we buy a company in the south of France who process this gum arabic, and Thierry is the manager of this company. And from the gum collected from Niger, we re-export all over the world from France.
So from the middle of nowhere, in the desert, you have nothing. You have degraded land. You have a very, 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 very poor populations. And through this clean development mechanism, you can not only create wealth, but create a project which is really sustainable, with a product which is good, not only for the health, because gum arabic is a natural product, it's the gum of a tree, and which permits to certain company, like the company we bought in southern France, to survive. So a lot of people took advantage of what we did. And without our action, and without the assistance of the World Bank, I would like to insist, because it was the key element, clean development mechanism and the confidence of the World Bank, which accepted to buy the carbon credit. So if you don't find investors which have a vision, a real vision, nothing could have taken place.
So I think we have to summarize. So if you have any question, then you can ask us. Thank you.
Thank you both very much for coming. Do we have any questions or conversations from the audience? Please, yes.
Hi, this is, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
This is Nina of GIZ. Maybe I missed it at the beginning. What was the amount of the investment from the World Bank that made that happen?
The World Bank invests around $300,000 US dollar, and they help us to make all the process, because it's very, very complicated process to be registered in the site. And they send us experts, they send us their experience on this. It's very, very, very helpful.
Was that I'm less familiar, like we shared earlier, although I'm from the World Bank, I am from the renewable energy side. So I want to ask, was that in some technical assistance, or was that a grant? Because I also understand that the Biocarbon Fund purchases the emission reductions from you, which was probably in addition to that, yes?
Yes. The Biocarbon Fund signed a contract with us till 2006, in the beginning of the project. And we have a fixed price. So they take a risk. And today the risk is in our advantage, because the price that in which they buy is more favorable for us than the today price. So it's a good risk for us.
I'm very impressed about this aspect, because this is what you've been able to do in Niger, in these very remote places, and to connect this global industry and supply chain with Asha, with the gum Arabic, to the communities in Niger is very impressive. But then also to use the CDM and emission reduction purchases on top of that, as you mentioned, it's a complex process, makes it all the more impressive.
At the beginning, even in the local language, when we explained to them that we wanted to plant trees to keep the carbon, it was not easy, because even in their language it doesn't exist, the terms carbon. So Boema tried to say there is the good air, the bad air, and we have to try to keep the bad one. And he just trusted Boema. And it involved thousands of people, 33 communities. Mostly people who never went to school, which are in really remote areas where even the cars go with difficulties. It's in the desert or Sahelian region. On top of that, we had the insecurities because of the fundamentalists. So it was tough. And every year we have to replant the trees which were dead because of the climate, which is really severe. The drought is really severe. But the result is that all these lands which had absolutely no interest, is relatively wealthy. Without speaking about the people who took care of the plantation, which are still poor, but a little bit less than before. And that's a success. And that's because of the clean development mechanism.
And what is important is, in this project is that we have the combination of three actors. The private sector that we represent, the biocarbon fund, who is by the carbon, and the government, because the government is really involved in this project. This is rare in our countries. The government don't work very closely with the private sector. But in this project, the government made a very, very good approach, and they help us to develop. And even now, they have new projects. Because of this project, they have new projects for other regions in Niger. And this is really the good aspect of the project. And we have, because the project is now a success, the neighboring countries come to see us to help. Now I send 50 person in Mali who train people to make the nursery, to tap the plant, to have the gum arabic, and we do the same in Burkina Faso.
So what are you mentioned that you have 26 rural communities engaged already. What are your plans for growing and expanding to other communities? Do you have them? And if so, my second question is, I see several possible benefits, right? And you've mentioned them, but what is the one benefit that the people in these rural communities focus on? What is the one benefit that makes them most eager to participate? So what are your plans to grow, if any, and then what's the one thing that really brings them on board?
The very positive aspect of the project is that people in the beginning of the project, they don't believe on the project, because Sahel is very drought. The drought is very strong, that they don't believe if you plant a tree without giving water every day, the plant can resist. And they saw the result, and now they are very, very engaged in the project. This is, I think, the most important aspect of the project. It serves as an example for the people.
But to be clear too, naturally, they took advantage on a financial aspect. That was naturally, it was important for them. And by selling the gum, which is not a cheap product, they have a double benefit. And they are sure that they will sell. And we have contract with them, and for them it's a security. That makes the world difference.
I think that, yeah, there's several benefits. I mean, it's hard to. That's why it's challenging to pick one that maybe is the most impactful. I do so. The trust fund that I manage supports biogas digesters in sub-Saharan Africa, and oftentimes I may care about the climate benefit, but the rural household, the farmers, care about the fertilizer that comes as a result, and that's what brings them into the system. So it's public-private partnerships like these that bring people together for all of the different benefits that I think have a lot of potential. What are your plans for growth going forward? Are you focusing just now on these 26 rural communities, or are you wanting to grow? And here's why I ask, because I think we're here at the Pitch Hub. I think there's a lot of very valuable people here at I4C and finance and development and in the private sector. You know, are there people here that you need to connect to help grow and get to scale and access the market? And if so, what do you need? What's your pitch?
The fact is that there are so many things to do, and with the will and a little bit of creativity all over the world, not only in Western Africa, we could do, but it's a question of time. But we could select a certain number of botanical species where we could take advantage of the roots, the bark, the gum, the flowers, the leaves, and we could develop this product and make it useful by the industry, food industry, pharmaceutical industry. I had in mind a project in Somalia, but unfortunately because of insecurity, you know, it was tough to go. But potentially we could do so many things. That's really unbelievable. But it's above all a question of will and accepting to take risks. You know, we are in a capitalism system, and the key factor, you need investors, people who want to take time and risks and take risks. And unfortunately, human beings, we are a little bit like sheep. We don't. People who are really audacious are not so numerous. And to be audacious, you mean to be clever. It's just like when you have light, you can advance. In the dark, it's difficult. And you have light when you are surrounded by people who are great. So that's a question of network. If you have a good network, you can advance. Alone, difficult.
We're to switch gears a little bit here. What are the benefits to the people on the ground? I mean, we talked about the income from selling the gum, but what are the other benefits? And my question related to that is, Mr. Wankuya, you mentioned that planting the trees improves the land, it helps you face the drought. How long does it take after an acacia tree or several of them are planted before the communities see the change in the land? It takes some time, no?
It's take 3 or 4 years to harvest the gum. But before that, between the trees, they plant some vegetables, some as beans. So they benefit double, because the land where we planted the gum, nothing can grow before the plantation. So they have the grass for to feed animals.
Yeah, the fodder, yeah.
Yes.
At the beginning, when the trees are not too big, they can cultivate. When the shade it's not possible. So, but once again, you have to imagine a useless land, which become useful.
Usable, yeah.
Usable.
Yeah.
In a few years.
Yeah, that's a lot faster of a timeline than I imagined.
Yeah.
Again, coming from the
That's
electric wires part of the world.
The production of gum by tree is really low.
Yeah.
It's really a labor-intensive activity. But it takes place during winter, and generally these communities, they have less to do, because all these people, they are farmers, and they cultivate only during the rainy season, which is not only short, but more and more unstable because of climate change. So for them, they have time. and they take benefits. So I don't say that they are fighting to pick up the gum, but they are really numerous. We have no problem in terms of collection of gum.
So well, if you have no problem on the collection of gum, what are the key barriers? What are the key challenges moving forward for this type of a public-private partnership?
The key problem is la sécurité. Security. Now, in the beginning of the project, we take all the regions, 8 regions of Niger, but we only planted in 2 regions because the 2 other regions have security problems. So we didn't do that. And the other problem is financing, because it's a long process. You have to finance the nursery. It's a very labor intensive. So you have to pre-finance everything before you get the results.
You don't have to be in a hurry, in fact. But that's nature. When you are in a hurry, you get a watermelon. When you want, I don't know, if you want a big hoax, it takes 100 years, to have it. So you can not go too fast for that kind of project.
You mentioned replication earlier, that this is a model that can be potentially copied by others. What are some of the things that you would share with others who want to replicate your approach, who want to copy? What is the 1 or 2 things that worked very well? And maybe what is 1 or 2 things that, if you could do it over again, you would skip those?
Okay. She told me that stay 5 minutes.
We've got plenty of time.
Because before to do this project, we did it with our own funds, and we have experiences. So people from the neighbor country come and see us and say, okay, how can I do to make the same project as you? And when people of European Union, World Bank come to see minister, they speak about project in other countries. So this minister of the other countries send us delegation to come and see what we do and to ask us to come and help them to make the same thing. And one thing, last time I was in the plane with our Minister of Planning, and she was in Washington in the big meeting. And in this meeting, the chairman of a big American company showed his product, a chocolate product. And he said, you see this product? It's come from Niger, and you eat it everywhere, every day. And the minister was so proud when she come back. She tell to me to come and see her, and it's very successful. So that now in Mali, they invite us to come and meet the president and the minister to make them show in the project. So the impact is regional.
Excellent. We have just 1 or 2 minutes left before I conclude. Do you have anything left to say during your pitch hub?
No, I think because of the success of the project, we have to continue to finance such of project, because the impact is tremendous. Not only for the environment, but for social, for people. Now, European fears that people come to immigrants to Europe, and this kind of project can keep the people in their country, because it's create wealth. So I think we have to encourage this kind of project because of multiple impact. And it's reconcile us with the government, because private sector and the government don't work together all the time. But on this kind of project, it's a really good success.
Well, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you joining us on the Pitch Hub. I never thought it was possible to maybe get a little bit emotional about the clean development mechanism, but Thierry, like you earlier, the way that you spoke about the impactful and the nature of and the importance of the BioCF purchase commitment, I think I teared up a little bit.
And Matt, let me tell you, it's not marketing, it's truth.
I know, that's why it's the passion.
It's just the truth, you know. And if some big companies did what we did on a larger scale, can you imagine? It would be great. It would come sooner or later.
Exactly. That's why I think you're in the right place. Thanks for joining us in the Pitch Hub. I hope that you're able to meet some folks here at Innovate4Climate this week that can help you get to the next level and to grow. And I know we value the partnership with the Biocarbon Fund. So thank you very much, both of you, for joining.